Hello my dear students. Now in the earlier chapters, we studied about the life cycles of animals and we got a introduction or I gave you a simple introduction and we wrote about how does the life cycle is going to occur and what do you mean by a life cycle of a animal. Okay, and simply we discussed about the life cycles of organisms in common. Even we discussed about the life cycles of plants as well. So under that specially we discussed about the life cycles of animals and we studied about what do you mean by the metamorphosis, right? We got a knowledge about the metamorphosis, simple knowledge about metamorphosis and the animals who undergo in metamorphosis during their life cycle. So within this chapter we'll be continuing about the metamorphic process that occur in animals, in different kinds of animals. And we'll be studying about further things related to the metamorphosis, like the two main types of metamorphosis and the animals that carry metamorphosis or animals that undergo in metamorphosis, right? And those will be discussed in detail within this chapter. So let's go and identify next what do you need in identifying these metamorphosis stages. Okay, right. So before we are going to discuss about this metamorphosis, right, so we studied about what metamorphosis is in the earlier chapter, like we got a simple brief introduction, but however within this chapter we'll be discussing further more things related to the lesson metamorphosis part. Okay, so in order to get a good knowledge about the metamorphosis, once again you are given with a simple activity. So within this activity also, we'll be using several diagrams and figures, and by using those diagrams and figures, we'll be developing several life cycles of organisms. Then by that way, we are checking who are the ones who that carries metamorphosis and who are the ones that carry, that has just a simple or else not that much complex life cycles. Okay, so now according to the slide, so you can observe here, we'll observe or we'll see what is the activity, and by that we will get some idea about the metamorphosis process within this chapter. Okay, so you are given are the morphological changes of different stages of every organism that undergo metamorphosis is significant. Now, metamorphosis means there is a significant difference between the each life stage. Okay, that's what do you mean by the metamorphosis. Like in the earlier case, okay, when you take the life cycle of a butterfly, so eggs are way more different than the caterpillar, and the caterpillar is way more different than the pupal cocoon. And it's also way more different than the adult butterfly. So there are several instances that has significant changes among the life cycle of the butterfly, right? Among the life cycle stages of the butterfly. If you take the life cycle stages of butterfly, there are 4 main stages. Each of these stages are having way more different characteristics than the earlier stage. Right, the features from these 4 stages is going to differ from one to another. Right, from one to another, it's going to differ. So, my dear children, here we are going to discuss whether here we are going to observe, right? Especially we are going to observe that whether we can find out significant changes in each and every life cycle or not. Okay, we are going to observe whether we can see significant life cycle stages in each of the organism or not. Okay, so to identify those things, like life cycles, there are several animals given in the activity. So we'll see. You will need some pictures that showed life cycles of frog. So we'll be needing life cycles of Frog, already we have discussed this thing. Cockroach, butterfly, mosquito, dragonfly, and white ant. Okay. So these are the things that we need. We'll be needing the life cycles of these organisms. Okay. You can find these figures by using the internet for sure. It's very simple to find out these figures by using the internet. Even the videos can be downloaded from the internet. It's very simple. So then after, what you have to do, observe the pictures well. Are the morphological changes of different stages of every creature significant? Tabulate your answer. Now, by looking at figures in each of these organisms, right? By looking at the figures of in each of these organisms, we are going to find out whether all of these organisms have different life cycle stages. Okay, we are going to find out whether these organisms have different life cycle stages. Okay, right? Then after, we'll be tabulating it according to two parts. Ones, or the organisms that has significant life cycles, and the organisms that haven't got a significant changes in their life cycle. Like that, we'll be dividing into two main categories. Okay, right then. So let's see the life cycles of these organisms then. So children, this is the life cycle of a frog, right? This is the life cycle of a frog. So if you check the frog, life cycle of a frog is, this is the adult frog. These are the eggs. These are eggs, and this is, you know, the tadpole. You take the cockroach. This is this cockroach. This is the adult one. Okay, the adult cockroach. Then adult cockroach is going to lay eggs. Then these eggs are getting hatched. Then a nymph is coming out. Nymph. So eggs, nymphal stage, and the adult stage are the three main, right, stages of the cockroach. We already discussed about these things, right? So my dear children, in frog we can observe three main stages: frog, eggs, and tadpole. Then in the cockroach we can observe egg, nymph, and the adult. So this is about the frog. Life cycle of frog. Then this is the life cycle of cockroach. Right. So we discussed about the changes. Here once again I'll memorize it. If you take the adult frog, is going to lay eggs on a surface of a water stream, right? Actually it's not a stream, on a place where water is somewhat still. These adult frogs are going to lay eggs on the surface, on some kind of a surface, right? Then the eggs are getting hatched and a fish-like organism is coming out. That fish-like organism is referred as the tadpole, right? So tadpole having like fins-like structures in order to help, in order to do their locomotion. Those things helps in locomotion, right? Then after that, special structure that has, or that tadpole has, is the gills. Gills helps in respiration, right? However, tadpole undergoes in different changes within their body. right? Then the tadpole is getting converted into an adult frog. Specialty here is that when the adult frog is getting created, right, by the tadpole, the gills are getting removed or they are getting converted into lungs. Okay, so the main respiratory organ in frog is lungs. Okay, not gills. However, frog can live in both land and water, but in water only for a short time period within the water. They should come out to breathe as they breathe using lungs. Okay, so those are the three stages and some differences which we can observe within the life cycle of frog. Then if you take the life cycle of a cockroach, adult cockroach lay eggs, then these eggs are getting hatched, and a smaller creature which is somewhat similar, not exactly similar, which is somewhat similar to the adult cockroach is coming out, and that organism or that creature is referred as the nymph. Specialty here that nymph having a exoskeleton, a good exoskeleton, a good body covering, right? And this exoskeleton is getting shedded over the time, and an adult cockroach is getting created. When adult cockroach is getting created, after shedding this exoskeleton, wings can be observed. Okay, wings can be observed. So adult cockroach has wings. It can fly. However, the nymphal stage cannot fly. In nymphal stage, the cockroach can't fly. Okay, so these are the changes that we can identify within the each stages of the life cycle of these organisms. However, my dear children, if you take the nymphal stage and the adult stage, both of these stages have like some kind of a similarity. I mean, like by looking at this nymph, we can say that the nymph is like it has similar features to the adult cockroach, right? Similar features to the adult cockroach. I mean, their body is somewhat different. Body size is the only one which is getting different. But however, other morphological features are similar to the cockroach. Only thing that missing is the wings. Nymphs can't fly. However, cockroach adult one can fly. Nymphs can't fly. Adult cockroach can fly because they have wings. However, their body is somewhat similar to the body. If you take the body structure, these two stages, they have a similar body structure. But in this case, if you take the tadpole and adult frog and eggs, each of these three stages are way more different from one to another. Tadpole breathe from gills, but however, frog by using lungs. Then the other thing is that tadpole is having, it's like if you take the structure, it's like a fish, okay, and it's like having a tail with a like fin kind of a thing in order to swim in water. But however, frogs do not have like that. It's not like a fish. So the features are dramatically changed here. Okay, but however, within that case, features are somewhat similar from the second to the third stage of the life cycle. Okay, right. Then we'll head on to see the next one. So in here, you can observe the life cycles of different organisms. Here you can observe the life cycle of butterfly, right? Here you can observe the life cycle of butterfly. So life cycle of butterfly, we already studied about the life cycle of butterfly in the earlier chapters, my dear children. So life cycle of butterfly start from the eggs, then the caterpillar, then that cocoon stage, right, which is called as the pupa, and the butterfly. The similar thing can be observed within the life cycle of mosquito as well. Similar thing can be observed. Only thing that differs here is their, like the body change. The butterfly structure and the structure of mosquito is somewhat different. But however, they have the same stages of life cycle. Eggs, larva, the caterpillar stage is also referred as the larva, but especially the larval stage of the butterfly is specially referred as the caterpillar, right? That's a special name for the life cycle of butterfly in the larval stage. Okay, so eggs, then larva, then pupa, like in the earlier case, pupa, and pupal stage is getting converted to a mosquito. Okay, so in each of these organisms you can observe similar features, right? Similar features means similar stages, my dear children. However, if you check the features between each stages, they are also way more different. We studied these things in the earlier chapter, right? I think you could remember. Butterfly is way more different than the eggs. Eggs are way more different than the caterpillar or the larval stage. Larva is way more different than the pupal stage. This is an inactive cocoon. It's inactive, right? So all the nutrition is getting inside from all the nutrition that needed for the growth of the butterfly is is obtained by within the cocoon, right? That now you know that the caterpillar is undergoing several changes within the pupal cocoon, right, in order to convert into an adult butterfly. For that process, nutrition is important. So that nutrition is obtained from the pupal cocoon itself. Okay, that's why it is inactive. Means that it's not getting, like moved to a certain place. It can't locomote. It is getting stick to a certain place. That's it, right? And it is very inactive. However, after some time, the cocoon is going to, burst and the butterfly is going to come out. So each of these three stages, they have way more different features. They have significant changes within their life cycle. Okay, significant changes within their life cycle. Same as the mosquito, my dear children. Mosquito also having, like way more different stages of life cycle. We check the larval stage and the mosquito stage, right? Larva can't fly. Like they go like this within the water. They locomote within the water. We can say that they're going to swim within the water by rotating their body here and there. By moving their body here and there, they're going to swim in the water, right? That's how they locomote within the water. But however, mosquito is not going to do that. Mosquito is, like it's going to fly, right? So the two structures, the locomotive structures, are way more different in each stages. Here at the third stage, even they are not locomoting, they are inactive. So my dear children, we can observe significant changes in these life cycles, right? Significant changes. If you check the structure of, this is the one or the animal who is known as the cricket, right? Cricket. So cricket is somewhat, like similar like in the cockroach. So here you can observe the eggs, then the cricket, the smaller one is coming out. Okay, like in the cockroach, the smaller or the second stage of the cricket. Here you can, by observing the two figures, you can see that this animal or this second stage creature is somewhat similar to the structure of the cricket in here. Okay, so here once again you can't observe any dramatical features. within the two stages. Now, by looking at the figure, you can directly say that this is somewhat similar to this organism. But however, by looking at this figure, you can't say it. That organism over there is not exactly similar to the body shape and the size and the pattern and the morphological features of this creature over there. Those two are way more different. This creature here doesn't show any morphological features very similar to the creature over here. So their body structures and the other morphological features are way more different. But however, within this figure, you can directly say that these two organisms are showing like similar features. Their body structures are not way more different. Their body structures are not that much significant. Their body structures do not show any significant changes, my dear children, right? They're like similar. So this is the ant, right? The white ant. So the white ant, here you can observe the ant is going to lay eggs. Then the smaller white color, very smaller white color ant is coming out. Then gradually getting developed, and also even after that feathers, not the feathers, wings can be observed. Then the wings are also getting shedded down finally, and once again upon the reproduction process, eggs are coming out. So here by looking at this figure also, you can see that there are way more different stages within the white ant as well. Okay. So my dear children, these are the, so in the earlier case I have written down what are the two main, at the frog and cockroach I have written down their stages. But however, within these things, by looking at the figures, you can get some idea about the significant changes and the ones that do not carry significant changes. Here we are mainly looking at that thing now. Okay. So here you can observe, right? You can directly observe who are the animals that are carrying out a significant change and who are the animals that do not carry out a significant change within their stages of life cycles. It's quite obvious to us. By looking at these figures, we can get a good knowledge about that thing. It's very quite obvious, right? So my dear children, these are the life cycles of these organisms. Okay, these are the life cycles of the organisms. As you can see here, we can identify that each of these animals, some animals, they have significant changes within their life cycles. However, there are some animals, they do not have a significant changes within their stages of life cycles. Okay, right then. So our observation then, the creatures that have significant differences in stages of life cycle, creatures that have significant differences within their life cycle, then the creatures that do not have significant differences in stages of the life cycle, creatures that do not have significant changes within their life cycle. So we can divide these animals into two categories like this. Okay. So we'll see what are the or who are the organisms that had a significant changes within the life cycles. So frog is a good example. Frog. Then butterfly. Then my dear children, frog, butterfly. Then we could observe significant changes within the mosquito. So these are the three main organisms that had like significant changes within their life cycles, stages. Three main organisms. We'll be studying the life cycles of these organisms one by one each with the later with the lesson part that comes later with this chapter. Okay, so frog, butterfly, mosquito are the three main organisms that had different stages within their life cycles. Different stages mean here they had different, like they had significant changes or significant differences in stages of the life cycle. Okay, then if you take cockroach, cricket and dragonfly, right? Dragonfly, cockroach, cricket and dragonfly. These organisms, right? These organisms, they do not have any like significant features within their life cycle. They do not have any significant changes within their life cycle. Okay, they do not have significant changes. If you take the structures of these animals, right, they are similar to the adult, somewhat similar to, not exactly, but however, like we can say that 90% of these features can be also observed within the adult as well. So they do not have significant changes within the stages of their life cycle. Okay, my dear children, right? So other than this, I'm going to write down several other examples as well. Okay, several other examples. So for the ones that show significant significant stages, we can write fruit fly, then house fly, fruit fly, and also some amphibians, different types of amphibians, right? Most of the times amphibians, right, they go in these different stages in life cycle with different features. Okay, however, most of the insects who are living or who are terrestrial, like the cockroach, cricket, dragonfly, grasshoppers, right, you can mention grasshopper as well, right? So cockroach, cricket, then beetle, or we can mention as bugs, right? Bugs like beetles, right? They do not go, right? They do not go like, they do not have significant stages, right? These organisms, they do not show significant changes within their life cycle. These organisms, most of the times terrestrial insects. Okay, terrestrial insects. Terrestrial means the insects who are growing within the land area. Okay, however, amphibians, most of the amphibians, they go under, like they have several stages with different morphological features within their life cycle. Okay, most of the terrestrial insects, they do not have like these kinds of dramatical changes within their stages of life cycles. So these are the organisms, my dear children. These are that organisms, right? So if you take the life cycle of frog, butterfly, mosquito, fruit fly and housefly, they have significant differences in stages of the life cycle. If you take the life cycles of cockroach, cricket, dragonfly, grasshopper and several bugs and beetles, these creatures do not have significant differences in the stages of their life cycle. Okay, some have significant changes, but some do not have significant changes. Okay, so that's the final observation that we can take by looking at these figures. Right then, so here the conclusion is given now. The organisms hatched from eggs of cockroach, dragonfly, white ant are smaller in size, but they reassemble adult in appearance, right? Now in the earlier, now I didn't wrote down the white ant thing, but however I told you that bugs, most of the bugs and the beetles who are living terrestrial, they have, similar structures which are equal to the structures of adult organism. Okay, so here also it's been mentioned that the cockroach, dragonfly and the white ant, these terrestrial insects, okay, most of these terrestrial insects, they have similar features to the adult after hatching out from the egg. Okay, the creatures hatched from the eggs of butterfly, mosquito, frog are completely different from the adult. So the creatures which are coming out from the butterfly, mosquito and frog, these creatures are way more different than the adult organism. However, in the earlier case, if you take the creatures coming out from the eggs of dragonfly, cockroach, ants, bugs, those organisms, they have similar features with the adult. Okay, they have similar features with the adult. So my dear children, commonly metamorphosis is exhibited by insects and amphibians. Metamorphosis is a reason for successful existence of insects, right? So here we can say that finally each and every organism has go through with the metamorphosis process. However, there are some organisms which do not show significant changes, and there are some organisms that show significant changes. However, both the ones have undergone metamorphosis. Okay. However, both of these organisms, both of these types of organisms have undergone metamorphosis. Importance in metamorphosis is that these metamorphosis structures or these metamorphosis stages of the organism are very important for the survival, right? And for the continuity of their species. It helps to create a strong and well-adapted organism to the environment. It helps to create a strong and a well-adapted organism to the environment. So therefore, metamorphosis is really important for the organisms like amphibians and for the insects. Right then. So let's head on to see what are the other things contained within the lesson. So as we can see here now, we could observe there are two stages or there are two types of organisms that undergo in metamorphosis. One thing, or the first type of organism, these organisms or within the life cycle of these organisms, there are no significant changes within each stage. But however, there are some types of organisms, when they go in metamorphosis or when they undergo in metamorphosis, and if you check each of the stages, life stages, they have dramatical changes within their life cycles, within each stage of the life cycle. So, depending on that feature, my dear children, we can divide metamorphosis into two main categories as complete metamorphosis and incomplete metamorphosis. Complete metamorphosis and incomplete metamorphosis. By depending on the two main features that you identified or two main categories that you identified from the earlier activity, we can divide the metamorphosis process into two main categories. First one is complete metamorphosis and the second is incomplete metamorphosis. Now let's head on to observe what are these two types of metamorphosis, my dear children. So the first topic is given, the main topic, complete metamorphosis. Complete metamorphosis. Okay, complete metamorphosis. So let's see what do you mean by the complete metamorphosis then. Metamorphosis with significant morphological differences in the different stages is known as complete metamorphosis. Now complete metamorphosis means, my dear children, there are significant morphological differences within the different stages, right? There are significant. Significant means dramatical changes. There are significant morphological features in each of the stage of life cycles within an organism. There are significant changes like the frog and the tadpole and the eggs. Each of these three stages have significant changes. Caterpillar, pupa, butterfly. Then after that eggs. So eggs, caterpillar, pupa, butterfly. All of these four stages have significant changes. Okay. All of these four stages have significant changes. So my dear children, you can clearly see that within the complete metamorphosis, we can say that there are significant morphological differences in the different stages. So if there are significant changes, if there are significant morphological differences, then my dear children, it is called as the complete metamorphosis. Then it is called as the complete metamorphosis. Complete metamorphosis. The feeding mechanism, locomotion are different in each stage. So if you take the complete metamorphosis, the feeding mechanism, the way of locomotion, right? Then the type of food is also going to change. All of these things are getting changed from one stage to another, right? Then the larva feed on plant leaves while moves using legs. The butterfly feeds on nectar and it flies. So if you take the mode of locomotion in a caterpillar, it's going to crawl by using the small bit of legs contained within the body. However, the adult butterfly is going to fly using wings. By using wings, it's going to fly. Then, if you take the feeding mechanism, the caterpillar is going to feed on tender leaves, right? Caterpillar is going to eat and feed on tender leaves. However, the butterfly is feeding on nectar. Okay. So, feeding mechanism is also changed, and the butterfly has a small, structure called proboscis, that it can suck nectar out from flowers. Proboscis. Okay, proboscis. So, however, those structures cannot be observed within the larval stage of the butterfly, which is called as the caterpillar. Caterpillar is going to eat tender plants. tender leaves of the plants. Okay. However, the butterfly is using that proboscis is it's going to feed nectar. So way more different nutritional structures or way more different nutritional modes can be observed. Okay. So that's why we are saying that during the complete metamorphosis, even the way of locomotion and the mode of nutrition with the food is also getting changed. Okay. Then here you are given with examples for the animals that are undergoing complete metamorphosis, right? So animals like mosquito, butterfly, and I told you that in the earlier case, frogs, okay, frogs, mosquito, butterfly, right? These organisms mainly undergoing complete metamorphosis, right? So normally, if you take the complete metamorphosis, we can observe 4 different stages. These 4 different stages are eggs, larva, pupa, then the adult. Eggs, larva, pupa, then the adult. So eggs are getting hatched and the larval stage is coming out. Then the larva is getting converted into a pupal cocoon, which is inactive. Then after that, the pupal cocoon is going to burst and the adult organism is coming out. Okay. Best examples are mosquito and butterfly. Each of these organisms, they have these 4 stages. Very clearly we can observe these 4 stages within these organisms, my dear children. So this is the complete metamorphosis. Then, right, you are given with the figures once again to observe the complete metamorphosis. So eggs getting hatched and a larva is coming out. Each of these things you can observe the larval stage. Then larva is getting converted into a pupa. Once again you can observe the pupal stage, which is the inactive stage. Then that pupa is converted to an adult, right? That's the final stage of the life cycle, the adult stage. Here butterfly, then here mosquito. Okay, butterfly and mosquito. Right. So my dear children, we studied about the complete metamorphosis now. Complete metamorphosis means here the organism is going through significant changes within their life cycles. Okay, within their life cycle, they are undergoing significant changes. Even the mode of nutrition, with the type of food and the appendages that can be used to get food, and the locomotive structures, mode of locomotion, these each and every factor is going to change from one stage to another. That's why it was mentioned as the complete metamorphosis. So within the complete metamorphosis, my dear children, we could observe 4 different stages within their life cycle. There were 4 different stages within their life cycle when you observe the complete metamorphosis. Okay. So complete metamorphosis can be observed mainly within amphibians and insects like mosquito and butterfly. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about incomplete metamorphosis. So as you can see here, with the name goes by incomplete metamorphosis, you can get some kind of an idea that incomplete means like partially or half. Means when the eggs are hatching and after coming out the larval stage or the second stage of the life, that larva or creature is like somewhat similar to the adult. There are no significant changes. That's why it is referred as the incomplete metamorphosis, right? That's why it is referred as the incomplete metamorphosis. So that the second stage of this metamorphosis is referred as the nymphal stage. Nymph. So let's head on to see What are the contents given? So the metamorphosis that does not show any significant morphological and physiological changes. So here we can't observe any morphological or physiological changes within their body, right? Physiological features or any morphological features cannot be observed after creature is coming out from the hatched egg. That creature is like somewhat similar to the adult. Not exactly the adult, but however it's somewhat similar to the adult. Okay. So morphological and physiological changes in the stages of life cycle is known as incomplete metamorphosis. So this is the one which is referred as the incomplete metamorphosis. If they do not have significant morphological features, okay, if they do not have significant physiological changes within their stages of life cycle, then my dear children, that metamorphosis is referred as incomplete metamorphosis. Incomplete metamorphosis. Okay. So within incomplete metamorphosis, these organisms, if you take the structures of the organisms, the second stage is somewhat similar to the after hatching out eggs. The creature which is coming out is somewhat similar to the adult. By looking at the smaller animal or smaller creature that is coming out from the eggs, we can directly see that in near future, like what kind of organism is getting created from that nymph or from that second stage organism. We can directly see the link between those two animals. Like by looking at a nymphal stage of cockroach, we can directly say that the nymph is going to convert into a cockroach in near future. But however, in the earlier case, but just by looking at a caterpillar, we can't say that the caterpillar is getting converted into a butterfly. Now you know that, but like if someone doesn't know, then he won't think that the caterpillar will convert into a butterfly. Just by looking at, we can't say it, as there are significant changes within their life cycle. Okay, but here by looking at that smaller one, we can say that it's somewhat similar to the adult over here. Okay, so the young hatched from the egg, which is known as the nymph, is morphologically similar to the adult. Only slight changes, right? Only slight changes, right? So slight changes can be observed, right? With only slight changes. Slight changes means small bit of a change can be observed. That's it. Okay, there are no dramatical changes within the nymph and the adult. That's why I told you that just by looking at the nymph, we can say that it's getting converted into this kind of an adult in the near future. Okay, so examples are given: cockroach, right? Cockroach. Not only the cockroach, if you take the cricket, grasshopper, right? Then the dragonfly, these organisms, they undergoing incomplete metamorphosis. They undergoing incomplete metamorphosis. So my dear children, the stages of incomplete metamorphosis given in your figure here, right? So eggs are getting hatched into a creature, then that creature is referred as the nymph, right? The smaller creature which is coming out from the eggs are referred as the nymph. These creatures are similar to the shape and size of not the size, but to the shape of the adult. Size is different, we know that size is somewhat smaller. However, the shape is similar to the adult. There are small changes, like this one can fly, but this can't. There are smaller changes, okay? However, their body structure and the appearance and the, morphological features are somewhat similar to the adult. Okay. somewhat similar to the adult. That is why it is referred as the incomplete metamorphosis. There are changes with life cycle, but however, those changes are not that much significant. So within incomplete metamorphosis, you can observe three different stages: eggs, nymph, and adult. Eggs, nymph, and adult. Nymph is somewhat similar to the adult. Okay, somewhat similar to the adult. So this is referred as the incomplete metamorphosis. Incomplete metamorphosis, my dear children. Okay, complete metamorphosis and the incomplete metamorphosis. Complete metamorphosis and the incomplete metamorphosis. Right then. So list separately creatures exhibit complete metamorphosis and incomplete metamorphosis. Assignment given. Right? Assignment given for you guys to, like, you have to make a table regarding the organisms that shows the complete metamorphosis and that shows incomplete metamorphosis. So my dear children, in the earlier table, even we don't know about that incomplete and complete metamorphosis thing. However, we wrote several examples by taking their significant changes and the organisms that do not have significant changes. We wrote that table already. Okay. So once again, I'll memorize who are the organisms that's having significant changes and who are the organisms that's not going to show significant changes. Means that who are the organisms that has complete metamorphosis or that undergoes in complete metamorphosis, and who are the organisms that do not undergo in complete metamorphosis. So we'll complete the table. We'll complete a table here. Let's go. So we can divide into two main categories. Like this. So I'll mention like 5 organisms. So organisms that show complete metamorphosis. Right? Organisms that show complete metamorphosis. Then after that, in here, organisms that show organisms that show complete metamorphosis, then organisms that show incomplete metamorphosis. Right. So organisms that show complete metamorphosis, organisms that show incomplete metamorphosis. So we'll write like 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So my dear children, organisms that show complete metamorphosis. Butterfly. Butterfly. Then mosquito. The two main answers. Mosquito. Then frog. Frogs. Okay, frogs. Frogs are also going to show complete metamorphosis. As you can see, tadpole is way more different than the adult frog. So they are going to show complete metamorphosis within their life cycle. Okay. Even though they have three main stages, frog is an animal who is showing complete metamorphosis, my dear children. Remember it. Okay. We'll be discussing the life cycle of frog in detail within this lesson, but however, up to now, remember, frog is an organism who shows the complete metamorphosis, right? Then housefly. Housefly. If you take the housefly, housefly is also similar to the, right? They also have similar, housefly also have similar life cycle stages to the mosquito and butterfly. They also have, right? These creatures also have 4 different stages in their life cycle, housefly, and they are going to show complete metamorphosis. The larval stage of the housefly is called as the maggot, right? Maggot. Then maggots are getting converted into flies after going through with the necessary processes or necessary stages of life cycle. Okay. So housefly is also an organism who is going to undergo in complete metamorphosis, my dear children. Right? This organism is also carrying out, or it's going to show complete metamorphosis. Okay. Then if you take fruit fly, fruit fly is an organism that's going to breed within fruits. Means that the adult fruit fly is going to pierce fruit and lay eggs within the fleshy part of the fruit. If you take a mango, then the fruit fly is going to come and pierce down the mango, then laying eggs. So the worm or the larval stage of the fruit fly is going to come out and eat that mango and survive. Then finally, when the stages are, when the necessary morphological stages or metamorphic stages are going to complete, after creation of the fruit fly, that creature comes out from the fruit. Okay, that's how this process or the fruit fly is going to survive within our environment. Okay, so my dear children, if you take the life cycle of fruit fly, it is also similar to the life cycle of housefly. Only thing which is getting changed here is the place where they are going to lay eggs. That's it. And the nutritional pattern of them. Okay. Fruit fly is going to, they're going to lay eggs within the fruits, and the larva is consuming fruit part to develop into a well-grown fruit fly by passing down their different stages of life. Housefly is somewhat different than that. Within rotten meat, okay, then rotten food, they're going to lay eggs. Then eating those things, the necessary stages are going to be passed by the larva. Then the adult fly is coming out. only thing which is getting changed here is the place where the eggs are being laid by the adult organism. That's it. All the other stages are similar and they are showing significant changes from one stage to another. So fruit fly, house fly, then frogs, mosquito and butterfly, these organisms show complete metamorphosis. Okay, these organisms show complete metamorphosis. Then if you take the organisms that show incomplete metamorphosis, first and foremost answer would be cockroach. So we'll be studying about the life cycle of cockroach in detail within this lesson part. Okay, we'll be discussing how the life cycle of cockroach is going to happen. Actually, we'll be discussing about the few important facts regarding the life cycle of cockroach. Then cockroach is an organism who shows incomplete metamorphosis, as these organisms do not undergoing significant changes within their life cycle. Okay, so cockroach undergoes in incomplete metamorphosis. Then if you take dragonfly is also a type of an insect that undergoes in incomplete metamorphosis. Dragonfly shows incomplete metamorphosis. Okay, dragonfly. Then if you take cricket and grasshopper, both of these organisms, they also do not show complete metamorphosis, right? They are showing incomplete metamorphosis. Then the white ant. In the earlier lesson part, when we are discussing about that activity, in order to identify the significant changes, we identified that the white ant also going to show incomplete metamorphosis, as there are no significant changes within the life cycle of the white ant. Okay, so cockroach, dragonfly, cricket, grasshopper and white ant, these organisms do not show complete metamorphosis. They undergo in incomplete metamorphosis. Okay, they undergo in incomplete metamorphosis, my dear children. So what does incomplete metamorphosis is, right? What is the meaning of that thing? Incomplete metamorphosis. Within the incomplete metamorphosis, there are no significant changes within the life cycle. There are no any significant changes within the life cycle stages, right? The adult nymph which is coming out is similar to the structure of the adult nymph. The nymph which is coming out, okay, the nymph which is coming out is having similar features or similar characteristics to the adult itself. Okay, so therefore this is referred as the incomplete metamorphosis. Their body structure, right, and the morphological features are similar. But however, within the complete metamorphosis, dramatical changes can be observed. By looking at one stage of the life cycle, we can't directly say that the organism is going to be this kind of an organism within the future. Okay, most of the times, my dear children, amphibians undergoing complete metamorphosis. Amphibians. And insects who are living on terrestrial lands, most of the times they are undergoing incomplete metamorphosis. But those things are not getting applied to the butterfly and housefly. Okay. Most of the times these organisms, they undergo incomplete metamorphosis, like the cockroach, dragonfly, cricket, grasshopper, white ant and several bugs also. Okay. bugs and beetles, they undergo in incomplete metamorphosis most of the times, right? Most of the times insects who are living in our terrestrial environment, they undergo in incomplete metamorphosis. There are some animals like, like insects which undergo in complete metamorphosis. Examples are mosquito and, butterfly. Okay. But however, most of these organisms, they undergo in incomplete metamorphosis insects. Right then. So this is about the complete metamorphosis, my dear children, and the incomplete metamorphosis. So I hope that you got a sound knowledge about the complete metamorphosis and the incomplete metamorphosis. Okay. Right, my dear children. So we discussed about the complete metamorphosis and about the incomplete metamorphosis. Now you can get a clear knowledge about the two metamorphosis process, right? I hope that you got a good knowledge about the two metamorphosis process carried out by these animals. Okay. So within our next chapter, we'll be discussing several other things related to the lesson. Especially, we are discussing about several life cycles of several animals. Okay. So we'll continue our lesson with our next chapter to discuss about the life cycles of different animals.